Hey, everybody, it's Matt. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour podcast. And yesterday I was telling you about how excited I am that my son is someday going to surpass me at tennis. And maybe some of you were like, well, did you go out last night and play tennis and lose to your son? And you had that big, important father-son moment? No. No, we're not there yet. I'm still holding on, but I still think it's imminent. No, what we were talking about yesterday was Moses and his enthusiasm for Jesus and how Moses even predicted Jesus and told people to listen to him when he shows up. So I don't remember how far we got in all the stuff I wanted to read you from around the Bible that is following this trail of breadcrumbs, this theme throughout the whole thing. So I'm just going to pick up right where we left off yesterday with this stuff. I'm going to have Jeffrey play some delightful music, and then we'll get right back after it. Acts chapter 3, we got Peter on screen talking now. So by the time you get to Acts, Jesus has lived and died and been resurrected and ascended into heaven. And now the disciples are carrying all of this forward. And here's what Peter has to say. We'll start in 22. For Moses said, "The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among your own people. You must listen to everything he tells you. Anyone who does not listen to him will be completely cut off from among his people." This is Peter talking to Jews in Jerusalem who aren't quite sure what to make of Jesus. And he even opens the speech saying, "Now, brothers," remember what Moses said back in Deuteronomy? He was like, he'll raise one up from among your brothers. So Peter's using all kinds of language to make it really clear, subtly and overtly. Moses was pointing to Jesus. Moses isn't threatened by Jesus. Moses wants you to obey and follow Jesus. Moses is good with being surpassed by Jesus. In the same way, paraphrases mine, that Matt is good with being surpassed by his son at tennis. So Peter quotes Moses saying, "The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among your own people. You must listen to everything he tells you. Anyone who does not listen to him will be completely cut off from among his people. Indeed, all the prophets from Samuel on, as many as have spoken, have foretold these days." So Peter's not even being subtle about it. He's leaving nothing to chance. He's like, no, exactly. Remember that very important passage that all of you guys memorized and that we all look forward to? Like, we learned it in school too. You remember that? All right. It's Jesus. I'm telling you, that's who he was talking about. And Peter isn't just being like, trust me, because I'm Peter and I said the thing. Peter can back it up. He can point out all the stuff from the Gospels, like what we get from John, that spells it out in detail. Jesus is the one Moses said was coming. Acts 7:37, Stephen, as he's about to be executed by Saul, who will become Paul and his buddies, spells it out again. He says, "This is that Moses who told the Israelites, quote, 'God will send you a prophet like me from your own people.'" And it looks like Stephen maybe literally gets, maybe 15 more sentences in his entire life before he's dragged out of the city and stoned to death. And he uses one of his last 15 or 20 sentences ever to say to the angry Jewish leadership who were furious with him as he's talking, Moses was pointing to Jesus. Moses wanted Jesus to surpass him. This was the plan all along. 2 Corinthians 3, 7 through 11. This one is fantastic as well. This is Paul writing to a troubled church in Corinth. More on that later. "Now, if the ministry that brought death," and I don't have time to unpack it all, but he's talking about the law. He's talking about the first covenant, the covenant with Moses. "Now, if the ministry that brought death, which was engraved in letters on stone," see the nod there to the Ten Commandments, "came with glory so that the Israelites could not look steadily at the face of Moses because of its glory, fading though it was, will not the ministry of the Spirit be even more glorious? If the ministry that condemns men," that's the law that points out, our sin and our failure. "If the ministry that condemns men is glorious, how much more glorious is the ministry that brings righteousness? For what was glorious has no glory now in comparison with the surpassing glory And if what was fading away came with glory, how much greater is the glory of that which lasts? And the rest of that passage in 2 Corinthians 3 stays on that same line of thought, and you should go read it, and it's great. But listen to what he's saying. It's great logic. The Moses stuff, it was glorious. The glory of God even reflected off of Moses, but it wasn't Moses' glory. It was the glory of God, and it was fading and diminishing. But this new thing is a surpassing permanent glory. It's better glory. So look at that. It's written down all over the place. It's amazing, but it's not just written down in terms of people saying words or quotes on the page. It's also visibly demonstrated that Jesus is superior to Moses. It's a story that appears in more than one place in the Bible, but I'm going to go to the Matthew version. In Matthew 17, this is called the Transfiguration. It's a moment in the story where that glory that we were just talking about over there in 2 Corinthians 3 is pulled back on Jesus. Like, right, he's God become man. He's flesh. But for just a moment here, we see the radiance of Jesus, and three of the disciples. Well, I'm just going to read it to you. Here you go. Matthew 17:1. After 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. There he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. Just then, there appeared before them Moses and Elijah talking with Jesus. Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, it's good for us to be here. If you wish, I'll put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." And while he was still speaking, a bright cloud enveloped them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my son, whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell face down to the ground, terrified. But Jesus came and touched them. "Get up," he said. "Don't be afraid." When they looked up, they saw no one except Jesus. Well, you just spent the last couple of days going through all of this Moses and pointing to Jesus from all around the Bible material. Did you catch the things in there? And most obviously, of course, you got that Moses showed up. That was pretty awesome. But it's more than just a parlor trick, or like, oh, look, this is fun. It's affirmation. It's not even just God and the Holy Spirit affirming Jesus. Before God, even the Father, that is, even articulates his affirmation of Jesus, the fact that Moses and Elijah are there says loud and clear to the witnesses here and to the original audience, Moses is behind this. Moses knows he's been surpassed by Jesus. This was always the deal. And also, they seem to know him. It's not like they introduced themselves. "Hi, Moses. Huge fan. You might remember me from the 10 Commandments, maybe? I have been looking forward to this moment for Can I shake your hand? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have even asked that. The last time that I tried to interact with God like that, like my face glowed so hard I had to wear a veil forever. We shouldn't do a handshake. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I freak out in situations like there's nothing like that. They already know each other. They're already on good terms. Moses isn't here to learn about how Jesus is. It sure looks like he already fully gets the plan. But then look what happens next. Peter assesses the situation, and he's like, all right, we have got 3 rock stars here right now. Moses, Elijah, and Jesus. I should make a little hut for each of them. Like just make a little, like a dainty little hut. Because that's what you do when people get transfigured. I'm just going to set about hut making 3 equal huts, one for you, Jesus, one for Moses, and one for Elijah, because you're all so good. And it isn't even, Jesus doesn't even correct that. It's not like he's like, what are you doing, dude? Like, they're here because of me. No, instead, the Father corrects it. So, here's sniveling little nervous Peter with a bunch of nervous social energy flitting about like, this is so exciting. I don't know what to do with my hands. Let's just build shelters, equal shelters for all of you. It'll be great. The equal part paraphrases mine, but I think it comes through in the text. While Peter is still prattling on, paraphrases mine, while Peter was still speaking, a bright cloud enveloped them, and a voice in the cloud said, basically this is like, shut up, stop talking, now God will speak. This is my son whom I love, with him I am well pleased. listen to him. Did you catch that last line? Listen to him. That's exactly what Moses told them to do verbatim back in Deuteronomy 18. So it's really funny that God the Father quotes Moses in a sense. I mean, I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek, but in a sense, he says the same thing Moses said before about Jesus. So it's not even like all of these verses and all of these things that I'm talking about these last couple of days happened when Moses wasn't in the room, but I'm pretty sure, I'm vouching, like me personally, Matt Whitman, I'm vouching that when Moses, does come back in the room, he's going to be like, oh yeah, Matt was right. I really do like Jesus. No, Moses has been in the room and he definitely likes Jesus. We see his body language, we see his actions, and God the Father showed up and said all of that stuff. And there's the whole issue of glory and all of that. It's not just John. It's not just one or two verses here or there. It's all over the Bible, Old and New Testament, the covenant with Moses, the law given through Moses, Moses himself. All of that was great, but all of it pointed to Jesus, and all of it anticipated Jesus. It's not like the law and Moses and the covenant are there in the corner with their arms folded all fussy and grumpy because they got showed up and I'm mad. No, this is what they wanted. Across the echoes of time, the law and the covenant and Moses are begging with the future descendants, the future Jews from the time of Jesus, they're begging us to say, follow him. This is the Son of God. This is God's Son in whom he is well pleased. Do what he says. Listen to him. This is what it's all pointing to. All over the Bible, so many authors, so many verses, so many I didn't have time to read you today, are all saying the same thing. John, the evangelist, then, is not trying to rob his Jewish audience of their affection for Moses and the law. He's trying to help them. He's showing them that the way to truly honor Moses and honor the things that Moses wrote down from God is to follow Jesus, the one to whom Moses pointed. I'll try to remember to let you know when the lad beats me. I think that'll be a momentous day for all of us. That's plenty for now. I'm Matt. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour podcast. Let's do this again soon.
Moses and Jesus. What are they gonna come in? Moses and Jesus. How are they different? Moses and Jesus. What are they gonna come in? Moses and Jesus. How are they different? Moses and Jesus. Moses and Jesus. Moses and Jesus walking down the street.